This wasn't supposed to be noticed. No press conference, no headlines, no explanations, but buried inside newly released FEC filings is a paper trail that tells a completely different story about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because while AOC spent years lecturing Americans about the rich, the elites, the champagne capitalism, her own campaign was quietly burning through nearly $50,000 in luxury hotels, elite dining and high-end venue rentals, Puerto Rico, upscale boutique hotels, expensive catering, and yes, one of the most prestigious arenas on the island, the same one tied to those viral Bad Bunny nights. Now, this isn't rumors, this isn't spin, this is her own campaign's paperwork, and it exposes something that's much bigger than one politician's spending habits. This exposes what happens when people get drunk on power, drunk on donor money, drunk on elite protection, and completely drunk on the belief that the rules don't apply to them anymore. Because while everyday Americans are counting groceries and skipping vacations and feeling the squeeze, the loudest voices that are preaching socialism, they're the ones living a lifestyle funded by the very system that they claim to despise. Well, folks, tonight we're walking through what just leaked, where the money went, and why this is not an accident, this is a pattern. And by the end, you're going to understand why this moment is hitting harder than ever in President Trump's America. Stick with me, guys, because this one really matters. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate your support. Now, this didn't come from a whistleblower. There was no press release. There was no press conference. There was no explanation tour. This came from quietly released FEC filings. This is the kind of document that politicians count on nobody actually opening up and reading. Pages of numbers, line items, dates, vendors, all this boring stuff, right? Like you'd have to be an accountant to enjoy reading this stuff. But this is exactly where the scandal lives now. Because outrage doesn't come from speeches anymore, it comes from paperwork. So while the media was busy chasing the next shiny outrage, these filings sat there, public, legal, available for anyone to look at. And this is the point. They never expected regular Americans to actually dig into it. Because once you do, the story changes real fast. This story stops being about rhetoric and it starts being more about receipts, where the money went, how fast it went, and how casually it was spent. This only matters if people pay attention. And the moment that they do, everything changes. They never thought regular Americans would see this, but you're going to see it today. So this is what it looks like when politicians get drunk on power. Not slogans, not speeches, behavior. When somebody gets drunk on access, they stop hearing voters. When you get drunk on donor money, restraints disappear. When they get drunk on applause and media protection, accountability feels optional. And that's the shift that we're watching right here. This is the moment that ideology gives way to indulgence. The moment preaching replaces practicing. The moment someone starts believing that the rules are for everyone else and not for them. Power plus money plus constant praise creates recklessness. It always does. Nobody says no. Nobody slows it down. Nobody asks, how does this look? So spending escalates, the lifestyle expands, and the distance between rhetoric and reality grows wider by the day. This isn't sudden. This is what happens when nobody ever tells you no. Now, let's talk about the number that kind of jumps off the page. Nearly $50,000. Now, in a very short window of time, AOC's campaign burned through close to $50,000 in Puerto Rico alone. Hotels, meals, venue rentals, not spread out over years, not nickels and dimes, a concentrated burst of spending that would make most working class families stop and stare. Because to the average American, $50,000 isn't abstract. That's rent for like at least a year. That's tuition. That is a down payment on a home. That is a year or a couple of years of groceries. And this wasn't personal money. This was campaign money, donor money, supporters who were told that they were funding a movement, not some luxury tour. And this is where the disconnect hits hardest. The rhetoric says working people. The paperwork says elite comfort. So when you see the total, it's impossible to pretend that this was incidental. This is clearly more than a lot of families make in a whole year. Am I right? And so this is exactly where the media landscape breaks down. Stories like this spread everywhere, but most people never see how they're being framed. This is why I pull this up on Ground News. And so right now, I'm looking right at this AOC luxury spending story. And this is being reported by 10 different sources with a very clear bias split. About 80% of those stories lean right and 20% lean left. And that ratio alone tells you something, okay? Ground News is something you need to check out. Now, if you scroll down, You can actually compare every headline on one screen. One calls it luxury hotels and venue rentals, but another one focuses on the supporting local causes. Same facts, totally different spin. Ground News shows bias ratings and allows you to see exactly how each side frames the same information. This is powerful in a world where algorithms push what holds attention and what's accurate. In order to see the full picture for yourself and cut through the noise, go ahead and check out Ground News /Ron Yates. There's a link down below. That way you can get your 40% off a Vantage subscription. I'll even leave the QR code on your screen right here. That way you can just scan it and check it out immediately. I think that this tool can genuinely help you stay informed. Now let's get specific because the details matter. The filings show thousands spent at Hotel Palacio Provincial and also Hotel El Convento, upscale boutique hotels in San Juan. We're talking $300 to $400 plus per night stays here. Historic buildings, adult boutique vibes, the kind of places most locals aren't booking. Now, here's where the hypocrisy becomes impossible to ignore. At the exact very same time, AOC was publicly condemning gentrification in Puerto Rico, posting about vulture capitalists, warning that working people were being pushed out. Strong language, moral outrage. But look at the side-by-side reality. Same island, same summer, two completely different worlds. One of struggle, one of indulgence. No exaggeration needed, just the facts sitting next to each other. Same island, two totally different realities. Now, the spending didn't stop at hotels, not even close. The filings show over $10,000 spent on meals and catering, and not at corner cafes or local takeout spots. These were exclusive restaurants, the kind of places where the menu doesn't necessarily list prices, and the crowd looks nothing like the voters being preached online. And here's how it's always justified: campaign events, organizing, meetings, fundraisers. But the line between outreach and indulgence disappears real fast when donor money is paying for elite dining. You know what I'm saying here, guys? This is how politicians normalize luxury. They stop seeing it as excess and start seeing it as part of the job. Meanwhile, the people footing the bill, they're clipping coupons, they're skipping vacations, some are even skipping medical benefits and prescriptions, and they're tightening their belts. They call it organizing, voters call it indulgence. Then comes the moment that made everything explode. More than $23,000 was spent on venue rental at the Palacio de Puerto Rico. This is one of the most prestigious arenas on the entire island, and it just so happens to be the same venue where AOC was seen enjoying the now viral Bad Bunny nights. Now, pause here for a second because this really matters. This isn't about making accusations. It is about optics, about judgment, about awareness. Because when people see luxury hotels, elite dining, high-end venues stacked together, explanations stop working. Legality doesn't calm outrage. Context doesn't erase perception. Politics is all about trust. And once trust cracks, paperwork becomes gasoline, even if it is legal. Does it look right? That's the real question. So this is the point where defenders say, look, you're overreacting. It's just one trip. What's the big deal, Ron? But Puerto Rico isn't the story. It's the latest chapter. This is what people mean when they talk about champagne socialism. Loud speeches about inequality paired with lifestyles cushioned by privilege. It's not accidental, it's systemic. And voters in 2025 aren't as forgiving as they were a decade ago. Trust is collapsing across the political class because people are tired of being told one thing and then shown something else. They don't need perfection, they just need honesty. And when the same behavior keeps repeating, explanations start sounding hollow. The receipts pile up, the rhetoric stays the same, and the gap between the two gets wider and wider. This just keeps happening, and people are finally noticing. You guys remember the Fighting Oligarchy tour? That was the branding, the imagery, the message. But the reality included private jet travel and five-star accommodations in cities like Las Vegas and Salt Lake City and Burlington, high-end hotels, luxury experiences, all the while lecturing Americans about greed and excess. This is where the drunk on morality superiority criticism lands, because you can't credibly rail against elites while moving through the country like one of the elites. You can't condemn wealth concentration from 30,000 feet in a private aircraft. Optics matter, always have. And in a populist moment, they matter even more. You don't fight oligarchs from a private jet. this isn't the first time that ethics questions have followed AOC. I mean, this is just the first time in a while where people actually line them up. Think back to the 2021 Met Gala, right? The tax the rich dress, the headlines, the symbolism. What didn't get nearly as much attention was the House Ethics Committee finding that followed. AOC was found to have underpaid for the dress and improperly accepted a $35,000 ticket for her guest. No criminal charges, no dramatic consequences, just a ruling and then silence. And that's the problem. When ethics violations don't come with real accountability, they don't get corrected. The behavior continues and then they normalize it. The message becomes clear. You'll get schooled, maybe fined, and then life goes on. Rules for thee, exceptions for me. You see what I'm saying here? Before the fame, before the national spotlight, before the brand, back in 2018, AOC's first congressional campaign was already wrapped in controversy. Her campaign manager at the time was accused of funneling campaign money into companies that he personally owned, over $1 million worth. It raised alarms, it triggered investigations, and then it just faded. The media moved on, the story disappeared, the warning signs got buried under momentum and celebrity politics. But that matters now, because patterns don't appear out of nowhere. They start early. And when early scandals don't slow someone down, they often come back later, bigger and louder and harder to ignore. This didn't start yesterday. It's just catching up now. And so this is where the broader picture locks into place. Bernie Sanders, he has spent decades railing against millionaires and billionaires, and yet Bernie Sanders owns 3 homes. He holds a multi-million-dollar net worth and earns millions of dollars from book royalties. So he himself is a millionaire. None of that is illegal, and that's totally fine. No one's saying that there's anything wrong with it. None of it is hidden. But it does expose the double standard at the heart of this movement. How can you shame multimillionaires when you yourself are one? That's all I'm saying. Because the issue was never the wealth itself. It was whose wealth is allowed. When they earn it, it's justified. When you earn it, it's immoral. You see the difference? When they live comfortably, it's deserved. When you try to get ahead, it's greed. This is clearly a double standard. This is why the message is breaking down. People are not confused anymore. They see the loudest critics of the rich are perfectly comfortable getting rich themselves. They don't oppose the elites. They just want to be the elites. And this is why this leak lands differently in 2025. Donald Trump's back in the White House and the political climate has clearly shifted. The populist patience that once gave these contradictions a pass, oh, that's gone. People are sharper, we're more skeptical, we're less willing to excuse elite hypocrisy. Under Trump's presidency, the contrast is unavoidable. One side talks nonstop about inequality while living high on donor money, but the other side openly embraces success and doesn't pretend otherwise. Now, you may agree or disagree with Trump, but voters know what they're getting. This is why moments like this hit harder now. Trust isn't just eroding, it's snapping. And once people stop believing the message, the movement collapses under its own weight. This isn't about one leak. This is about credibility breaking permanently.